We start with that breaking news in Washington County. The sheriff's office says a resident and an armed suspect are both dead after a series of events, including a home invasion and a shootout with law enforcement.
It all happened this afternoon in the town of Kewaskum. Tom Durian's been out there all day. He has new information now from investigators.
Several roads are still blocked off tonight as law enforcement continues their investigation.
Pretty crazy out here. It's not what we expect.
Dwayne Kewaskum was headed home when heavily armed law enforcement officers passed his vehicle and stopped just outside his home.
Cops swarmed the area and the SWAT team.
What Dwayne was capturing on his cell phone was the fog of confusion as law enforcement officers searched for an armed and dangerous suspect.
The SWAT unit was right there. We see in the video, everybody just started pointing guns at him. And he got out of the car. And then they were going in the ditches. They must have been looking for the other guy.
Ultimately, the people detained were let go. What brought law enforcement here in the first place was a 911 call around 3 p.m. That's when a resident said a suspect broke into their home on Forest View Road and demanded keys to a vehicle.
The subject that broke into the caller's residence does have a 1032 and took her keys.
A 1032 is a gun. Minutes later, another caller said they heard gunshots and an armed subject was coming towards their house. The sheriff says upon deputies' arrival, there was an exchange of gunfire with the armed suspect, followed by the suspect fleeing on foot. A perimeter was set up and the heavily armed officers could be seen canvassing the area. A short time later, a drone found the suspect. Officers approached and located the suspect deceased from an apparent gunshot wound. A firearm was also located near the decedent, the sheriff says. It is unclear if the gunshot wound was self-inflicted or suffered in the earlier gun battle with officers. The sheriff went on to say additional responding deputies located a deceased subject outside the first 911 caller's residence. A witness stated that the resident had been shot by the armed suspect prior to law enforcement's arrival.
Pretty frightening, especially because of my elderly mother.
The Washington County Sheriff's Department will investigate the death of the resident here. The Wisconsin Department of Justice will look into the officer-involved shooting. Reporting in Washington County, Tom Durian, TMJ4 News.